I'm Kazuku Senmatsu. I work at the Global Learning Center of Tohoku University. I've been involved in intercultural collaborative learning in the past decade, of course within the university I work at, but also in a larger context, offering workshops or faculty staff development seminars. I also lead an ICL, Intercultural Collaborative Learning Research team, consisting of about 10 researchers from 7 different universities in Japan. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to speak on behalf of the whole Japanese universities, but at least I will try my best to go over some accomplishments as well as challenges in intercultural collaborative learning in Japan. Okay. So again, my job is to provide an overview of intercultural collaborative learning, or ICL, in the context of higher education in Japan. I only have 20 minutes, not 20 hours. Believe me, I can go for 20 hours straight, but since we have limited time, I will try to pick up some important issues. So it might be a good idea to look at the ICL from the aspect of policy, educational practice, research, and the latest virtual development. Okay, I have to warn you that I might have to go really fast, like Shinkansen, time to time. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the end. Okay. Okay, I'd like to begin with the definition of ICL, especially used in this session. So intercultural collaborative learning, or ICLs, aims to enhance mutual understanding among students from diverse backgrounds through meaningful interactions in the form of collaborative learning experiences, such as group work or projects. So it stimulates learners in the thinking, and of course, encourage them to accept the others, and which will lead to the integrated process leading to the generation of new ideas, new values and ideas. Okay, so this is the educational method to be implemented in designing curriculum, programs, classes, or even activities, and facilitating meaningful interactions among learners, and assessing their learning outcomes. Okay. All right. And also, before getting to ICL from the policy, let me recap some of the university internationalization projects led by the MEXT over the past 20 years. Okay, so G30 is gearing toward the education for international students, and GGJ is mainly for domestic students, for outgoing. And then Top Global is more comprehensive. Okay, and also inter-university exchange project. This is based on a specific agenda, tropical. Okay, right. So let us look at whether or to what extent ICL is represented in the proposal of G30 and GGJ. I'm talking about proposals, okay? I've gone through summaries of 24 applications submitted by the university selected for G30 and GGJ type A, university-wide GGJ. And as you can see, a few universities incorporated the idea of ICL into their curriculum as part of their internationalization attempt, more so in the informal curriculum part. I'm sure I can find more ICL if I go beyond the summaries, of course, but it is kind of interesting to know that the concept of ICL was already there as early as 2009 when the G30 started. Okay. And just one more quick note. You might have already seen this, the report published by the project team of MEXT about post 300,000 international student plan. So it just suggests we should break away from education practices that target only international students. And we have to look into developing programs where diverse stakeholders, such as domestic students, international students, and traditional students, they work collaboratively, and then create new mutual values for meaningful interactions. Okay, and enhance university-wide system to promote international education. Okay, this is really encouraging. Okay, and then as I briefly explained, intra-university exchange project is based on a certain agenda. And the theme of 2018 was collaborative online international learning, or COIL. Okay, according to the website of Tokyo University Foreign Studies, the COIL is an innovative teaching method that facilitates intercultural competency, global awareness, and cross-lingual communication for students to prepare them for multicultural professional environments. I have taken this from their website. So my understanding is the COIL is the online version for ICL. We'll learn more about this from Professor Ikeda later on from Kansai University. Okay. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about how ICL began and developed. ICL started appearing in Japanese higher education in the late 90s. First as a Japanese affairs subject, which is part of Japanese language education programs, which of course target only international students. Japanese language instructors brought volunteer Japanese students into their classrooms for the purpose of increasing the contact between international students and domestic students. And this purpose part is another wave, which came when GGJ started. Instructors who were involved in international education now wanted to bring international students into their classrooms. Okay. And then with the increase of EMI programs classes, and a set of classes were added to ICL. Okay. Let's look at ICL classes offered by different universities in Japan. Professor Takahashi, who is my colleague at the Tohoku University, she did some interesting study looking at the course lists and the syllabuses of 84 national universities and 35 private universities, and identified universities that offer ICL as part of their curriculum. I added some information about the governmental funding and the number of international student enrollment to this data. And from this, we can see some link between the number of ICL classes offered and the funding, more so for national universities. Also, the number of classes and the number of international student enrollments, we see some link as well. Okay. So how is or should ICL be situated in the curriculum internationalization? I'd like to give you an example of Tohoku University, where I work. We have spent past 10 years on merging classes only for international students and classes mainly for domestic students. And we assisted instructors to develop mutual learning goals and outcome for all students, and developing guidelines on how to design ICL classes, and we constantly offer workshops. Now we are working toward bringing ICLs to one of the core parts of general education curriculum. It's been really challenging, but we are almost there. And of course, our ultimate goal is to spread ICL to all undergraduate education and even to the graduate education curriculum. Okay, let's look at some research. I have looked at some research papers published, some of them actually, and then came up with this graph. The number of papers published around the theme of ICL increasing, as you can see, along with the progresses of governmental projects. I like to point out, though, that many of the papers I reviewed are the reports of practices, mainly done by the authors themselves. So also, few papers incorporate theoretical framework as well as the focus seems to be more on pedagogy than the learning outcomes. So this can be a good implication for future research. Okay, I said in the beginning that I lead a team of intercultural ICL research, and I've done we've done research and also workshops. These case studies that we did in Japan, Australia, USA, Netherlands, and Germany, this is really interesting because the situations of ICL implementation are all different depending on the countries. And this kind of gave us some idea about, the Japanese version of ICL and how it should be done. So it might be really interesting to look into depth about ICL in the Japanese context. Okay. So we are still missing, discussion further discussion about curriculum, course, program design for ICL, and we should look at the pedagogical development and of course effective facilitations. What kind of things that the facilitator should know. And then also, we like to work on the development of ICL network so that we can exchange ideas and then learn from each other, right? Then for research, as I said, analysis of learning outcomes or learning process should be focused more. And then again, studies based on theoretical framework should be encouraged. And this is kind of new, but we should take a look at the co-curricular ICL as well. And again, course program assessment. Okay, and now we have to now worry about DX and ICL, how these can be mixed, and which I will talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so this past 1 year was a nightmare for many of us. We had to try to replicate what we did with in-person instruction in a virtual context. My trash can is really full of hair that I pulled out. I'm sure everyone went through the similar experiences. So I'd like to show how I did in my class, just an example. I'm sure many of the practitioners have done something similar or maybe different. So I incorporated both blended and high flex. Well, I would say modified high flex because I couldn't do complete high flex. So I did allow some flexibility, but not really totally. So I used synchronous and then asynchronous activities. We met in class at real time, and then we did some activities outside the classroom. Student groups have done it, okay? And then we kind of monitored and facilitated their activities using Slack and then also other LMS. This is really challenging, but we learned a lot from these experiences. So, and then I keep saying we. The reason is because I worked on this challenge with a great group of student advisors or student supporters. So I had 5 students helping me out with this class, and they monitored and facilitated activities outside the class. And the progresses and challenges are shared in our weekly meetings. So that was very helpful. Okay. So there are some comments from students, both negative and positive and negative. Some students said that they, now learned that they found out that they could carry out engaged discussion and collaboration even online. Or some of them said that it was just like studying abroad without actually being abroad. Okay. And then some of them were motivated to study abroad in the future. Okay. There's some negative comments as well. People had to get used to the online platform, and also they thought that the online communication doesn't really allow spontaneous conversation. And of course, we had to deal with time differences and then all this. And yes, these differences in the digital communication manner was kind of confusing to some students, because in some countries or some universities, they actually don't allow, they don't encourage students to show their face. But some of our students thought that it was kind of a bit challenging. Because they have to talk to the really black screen. And then, so that was kind of very hard for them. Okay, so we have different rules and regulations in each country. So we had to really have a common ground to begin with. Okay, and then, this was really heartbreaking, sort of, because many of them said that they like to just grab a meal or coffee together after classroom and just become friends or continue conversations. And this was very challenging for them because they couldn't do it. Okay. So I like to end my part with some questions, and so that I can leave my button to other two great speakers. So how could we make meaningful interaction happen virtually? Would students still learn? How do we know they do? Okay. Will or should students' learning outcomes be the same as in-person instruction, case of in-person instructions? Or how should we educators change? Should we actually change or shouldn't change? Okay. In what way, right? What kind of support do we need to do that? Okay. And what kind of research needs to be done? Okay. So what is learning, what is teaching, what roles do higher education institutions play? These are my ending questions. Thank you so much, and look forward to hearing more about this from two speakers. Thank you so much.